Hello, I'm Emma Shaw, Preventive Conservation Officer at MODA. I look after the climate control in our museum store, which contains 19th and 20th century paper and textile items. And today I'm introducing our project, Dreems. The Dreems project is a research-based reassessment of specifications for MODA's HVAC environmental control system. It's designed to provide a sustainable solution for the preservation of our collections in store, and it's one of our major efforts to address the climate emergency and energy crisis, and also to reduce the running costs of our museum and for the university in our financially straitened times. The project was realised and developed with the help of Professor Jane Henderson and Phil Parkes from the University of Cardiff in a short course on environmental management held at West Dean this summer. Here I'll briefly outline the questions we were grappling with, how we expect them to be resolved by Dreems, what our project schedule is, what the expected outcomes of the research might be, and how the project will contribute to sustainable conservation practices in our sector. So our initial questions in July 22 were broadly split into two parts. The first part was, how hard is MODA's current HVAC system working to maintain our store environment at relative humidity of around 50% and temperature of around 20 degrees? Could we reduce the energy running costs and carbon emissions and reduce repair and replacement requirements by adopting different climate control parameters? We discussed the broader museum environment standards provided by BS EN 4971, which replaced BS 5454 from 2000. By adjusting our requirements of the HVAC system, the air conditioning system, we could see how to reduce energy consumption, wear and tear on the overstrained system, and thereby reduce CO2 emissions. At this point of the discussion, using psychrometric charts, we worked out that a reasonable adjustment to make would be to maintain the temperature at 16 degrees up to 22 degrees in the store, and the relative humidity at 45 to 55%. This is now on the table with Middlesex mechanical engineers to discuss with our HVAC contractors. We figured from the HVAC running data here that the aircon works very hard at humidifying and dehumidifying and warming the air to 20 degrees Celsius, the current settings. And the sensor readings are every 5 minutes, and the unit appears to be adjusting to each reading presently. It's likely that a reduction of temperature in the room to 16 degrees will impact on energy consumption. As part of the Dreems project, I discussed with the MODA team if they would be happy to make such a change towards chillier working conditions in store, and they said they would give it a go. And I've begun discussions with our mechanical engineering services looking into reducing room temperature settings generally. This has opened up further discussions regarding reducing airflow settings and changing adjustment periods in the unit, but it's not yet clear whether the existing system can be adapted in all of those areas, and all of this needs hashing out with the air conditioning engineers who are outside contractors to the university. Our second major question was, what is a good way to assess the risk of damage to our materials in having an intermittent air conditioning schedule? How could we evidence and factor in the protective housing and shelving structures already in place for a damage risk assessment to further reduce our reliance on the air conditioning system to maintain a constant climate for our materials? That led on to, do we really need our air conditioning unit to maintain the room environment 24 hours a day? Could we afford to switch off overnight? To answer these questions, we devised a year-long research project to measure the interior climates of our archival boxes, the climate of our rolling rack storage within the store, and the general store climate. We've set up a dummy test model in our study room space, which has less climate control, and at the same time we'll be collecting monthly data from data loggers. We'll be monitoring the power usage at MODA and recording external seasonal data. We'll set up and begin recording data in the next couple of weeks, that's at the end of December 22, and we'll complete and report on the project in January 24. Once the data is assessed, we should be able to assess the risk of damage to our materials in store posed by rapid environmental fluctuations, that's those fluctuations which occur within 24 hours, and longer time span environmental shifts. Hopefully, we'll be able to switch to intermittent running of the existing system at least. At the same time as collecting data, we hope to make some adjustments to the settings of the HVAC along the lines I've already discussed, and be able to document the effect of those changes on energy consumption and carbon emissions. The project addresses what we believe to be the most significant element of Moda's carbon footprint. That's our use of a highly specified air conditioning plant to maintain our store environment within very tight temperature and relative humidity parameters. It's also part of Moda's effort to reduce energy consumption with the social and financial impact of the current energy crisis in mind. An important part of making the Dreems project a success has been and will be the support of members of the rest of the sector. So Dreems is supported by an Ames Collection Care Grant, which funded the purchase of environmental monitoring equipment. We've recently submitted the project as a carbon reduction action pledge to the Roots and Branch Carbon Literacy Programme, which was a great help in thinking about how our project addressed the carbon emissions issue overall, and how that fitted in with the rest of the museum sector. And the Dreems endeavour supports Middlesex University's environmental sustainability and cost reduction strategies, and those alike of the museum and heritage sector. Through the course of our project, we hope to promote sustainable practice methodology which can contribute to net zero aims in a meaningful way for the museum sector and through the many industry networks that have been established over the last 10 years. Similar efforts to adapt air conditioning climate control systems are being made concurrently internationally, and two recent presentations that explore similar questions to Moda's Dreems project are on this final slide. Stefan Mikalski recently presented on sustainable conservation practice in climate control at the Facing Climate Change Conference of December 2022. And recording of his discussions will be released early in 2023. A lot of them cover the topics that are part of the Dreems project. If you'd like to make any inquiries about the project, do contact me on the email address posted here.